We are back in. It's another edition of Danny and Cello. I am Danny Williams along with my guy Marcello Romano. DC, our guy Daniel Chavez produces the product. We appreciate you guys being with us, the interaction, the participation. We've only been doing this a small amount of time, but we're getting a lot of love on it, a lot of feedback, a lot of interaction, and you're doing a good job, Cello.
You're doing great too, Danny.
Thanks, buddy.
But I think the MVP is probably Chavi.
I agree. We couldn't do it without him, man. He's an unsung hero. As this show evolves and develops, we'd like to kind of make him more a part of the show, really. So, okay, so yesterday in the afternoon, the Denver Broncos announced themselves, a rare Broncos announcing themselves a trade. Devaughn Vele to the Saints, who they will play this weekend. Okay, so Vele's going to suit up against the Broncos this weekend for a 4th-round draft pick and a 7th-round draft pick. Cello, just right off the bat, give me your initial reaction and thought to the trade.
Initially, I was shocked by it because, listen, I'm driving down the road and I'm listening to our very own Zach By say why they won't trade him and how explosive he was last year in camp. And if you compared his numbers to a guy like Marvin Mims, who everybody thinks is going to be a pretty big part of this offense this year, why it wouldn't be something that would be smart, right?
Yeah.
And then within minutes, I found out the news that Devaughn Vele was traded. And I was like, wow, well, they probably got a little for him. They actually ended up getting a pretty decent haul for a guy that has 7 games under his belt.
Yeah.
475 receiving yards. And 3 touchdowns?
Yeah. Really quick to just...
How'd they do it?
The trade?
Yes.
I got to tell you, and a little bit of the theme today of the show will be, to me, why the Vele trade shows that the Broncos are now deeper than we thought, okay? Deeper than we thought as a whole, and why Sean Payton was kind of right again. We do this general manager stuff. You know, we do the trades, we do the draft better than everybody else, okay? He said it, and he says it in a way where it's like, whoa, I kind of believe it. He's saying it in a way where I'm believing it, okay? So this is another example of that. So to me, a 7th-round pick in Vele, okay, 7th-round pick is essentially you're putting a $20 parlay down that they just traded out for a 4th and a 7th. That's like turning $20 into $75 or $80. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so also in this deal, Cello, for a 4 and a 7 is not quite a 3. That's not a 3rd-round pick. But do you know what a 4th and a 7th is next year? A top 100 player in the draft. Top 100 player in the draft, right?
Well, and it's more ammunition to utilize when it comes to draft time as well. And maybe, did you know that we have audio of the Broncos, getting this trade done?
King me! Okay, move this one here. It's safe, I swear. It's safe. That wasn't safe at all. What an idiot.
It's just like that. It's just like that.
So you're saying that the Broncos are just kind of outclassing, not everybody in the entire league. I mean, look at the stuff that the Eagles do help them get over the top. Look at the moves that the Chiefs
Listen, man, I don't know where you got the term pull the wool over someone's eyes.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that really means.
Yeah.
But
nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative.
But it appears that that's what happened here. Like, you're talking about a very small sample size. And as much as we may have even liked Devaughn Vele here, to get this in return for a 7th-round pick, and he's an older guy, this tells me 2 things. One, they were hyping him up, and maybe he didn't participate in training camp as much because they had a feeling about this. And 2, it tells me that they really like Pat Bryant.
I agree, Cello. What this trade tells me is that Troy Franklin has ascended, kind of evolved a little bit. Troy Franklin, okay, looks like a guy now who's going to get not all of those 41 touches that Vele had, but Vele had like a lot of possession type catches that made Vele, to me, look like, man, I don't know who's the next Cortland Sutton kind of replacement guy, but Vele was really productive and kind of a dog last year, and only in 13 games. So his 41 receptions would have been 51 or 55, if he would have had a chance to play in 3 or 4 more games. So, yeah, the Vele trade was surprising. I was a little bit surprised at first, but then it goes to, Cello, it goes to the depth that the Broncos...
Can I stop you real quick?
Sure.
Because you said Troy Franklin won't get the 41 receptions?
Not all 41 receptions, but I'm saying Troy Franklin. Thanks for letting me finish my point here.
Hold on.
And
Like,
making me
what's
remember.
your projection for Troy Franklin?
Oh,
then?
60 catches now.
Oh, okay. I thought
Big
you were,
leap forward for Troy Franklin.
The way you said it,
Yeah.
initially was like he'll get some of the 41 and maybe not all of them. I'm like, wait, he's gonna exceed that number easily by himself.
Franklin was looking like a pop the top kind of specialist, get open down the field type of guy, who has now, through training camp and preseason games in a month, evolved to look like, man, this guy's complete. He's more complete than we thought. So my thoughts on Troy Franklin is not only does Pat Bryant look like the real deal with just a couple moves he made and block downfield in a couple preseason games, but the way that Sean Payton has spoke about Pat Bryant on multiple occasions makes us know that it's a guy he believes in when you compare a guy to Michael Thomas, who's a great player, who was not an all-time great player, but a really, really ridiculously good player. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So I guess kind of my thought is when it comes to the Vele trade, they're so deep at that position. If they were offered a 4th or a 5th round pick, you take it. They were not going to cut Vele. If they were offered a 6th or a 7th, you keep a guy who's a good player, and then the Broncos are forced to keep 6 receivers instead of 5 receivers, which is the number they want to go with because they got 5 guys they like. So
but what does it all mean, Basil? Here's what I'm asking.
Okay.
How did they convince the Saints, oh, yeah, you can give us your 4th and your 7th for next year for the guy that, I mean, he was kind of a fan favorite, Devaughn Vele here.
He was a camp darling last year.
You might have known of him locally, but nationally, is he on the phone with his old employer going, this guy's going to be great, we just don't have room for him? How do you get the return haul that you did for a player that you just laid it out? 7th round pick. I gave you the numbers already.
Yeah.
Nothing like jumps off the page. It was almost like, hey, favor time.
You
Hook me
think
up.
they got hoodwinked a little bit?
The Saints?
Yeah.
Well, I think the Broncos are the winner of the trade.
They are, but you know what? You said it both in your statement there, which was good stuff. I mean, that's what we might have to go with here in a little bit because you said 2 things there. That, okay, well, the Saints and the Broncos have a relationship where the Saints are asking Sean, tell me the truth about this guy. Is this guy a real player? He's the odd man out for us, but we will keep 6, and this guy might end up being our 3rd most productive receiver. But as of right now, we're stacked. We're deeper than we thought. Here's the value to us. We want a 3rd round pick. A 3rd round pick? Are you guys crazy? Okay, fine. We'll take a 4th and a 7th. Let's get this thing done.
Yes. I just don't like credit to the Broncos. Like it seems
but the
like
honesty, you said he's a good player, Cello.
No,
They're
he
being
is.
honest about it.
Yes, but I don't know that any other team have given up what the Saints did to get him to acquire Devaughn Vele?
I actually think that there was other teams interested because the Chiefs are making moves to the position. The Vikings are inquiring about receivers around the league. So I'm not saying it's all about Vele, but I will say that Vele, as a 7th round pick, was like a grown up right away amongst a bunch of young guys.
I'm not
he
just
was
saying
really
that
good.
this is crazy out of nowhere. I'm saying, look what else happened yesterday.
Yeah.
What did the Kansas City Chiefs do?
Sky Moore cut him.
And where was he drafted?
In the 2nd round.
And what did the 49ers give up to acquire him?
A 7th round pick. Are these all facts I'm giving?
I think so. I think you're right on. I hope so.
Okay.
Chavi, if that's wrong, edit it out and just you go interject where we need to fix that. But look, I mean, that happened on the very same day.
Yeah.
So you juxtaposition those 2 trades and you say, wow,
no, that's where
how'd that happen?
That's where some of the value came from, Cello. I mean, it's certain runs happen around the league where 1 or 2 guys get injured, and all of a sudden a certain position is kind of hot. Running back was hot last year. The last couple of years, the running back position has kind of been elevated again for a lot of reasons. What Saquon has done, guys like that. And then, we right here in Denver, we know the value of having a guy because we didn't have a guy last year. Trying to force feed it with Javonte Williams never happened. This year, it's a new, completely overhauled room. We're not going to get into that. I mean, we can. We did in the last show, but
I'm not going to get into this with you, man.
Why not?
Because I
kill you, and your effing parents would sue me. Okay, so continue down the road of where did Vele rank on your list of wide receivers?
Going into this season?
No, like yesterday.
No, I
Because
mean,
it's
but
changed.
just in the Broncos room. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, in the Broncos room. Because going into the season, it wasn't Pat Bryant and it wasn't Franklin. Now those guys have passed, on my list, past Vele.
It's interesting that you asked the question because if you would have asked me yesterday, I'd have said Cortland Sutton's number one. And based off the season they had last year and the position like that they're trying to utilize, Vele would have been in the discussion for number two, I think.
Okay, well,
Because Franklin, yes, we've seen a lot of flash, but I don't know that he's like that, like just solid number two.
yeah.
Mims, you got to do different things to get the ball in his hands. They proved that
Gadgety.
last year. And then Pat Bryant's a rookie, so it's like you don't know what you're going to get out of that. So I think he would have been the argument as close as to like number two
Yeah.
in that wide receiver room.
Well, going
Given
into
what he did well last year.
Cello, going into the season, we're doing Denver sports tonight. I mean, like we're going through the dog days of leading up to camp when there's not a lot of stuff to talk about. We're kind of creating topics. I had Vele as the guy who was going to go from 41 to 60 catches this year, 750 yards, 5 or 6 touchdowns. That was my projection, which would have made him the second most productive receiver on the team. But, and this goes to maybe the reason of the trade as well, okay? You have Cortland Sutton who's going to have a Cortland Sutton season. Then you have Evan Ingram who's going to come in here and catch 70-plus balls for 700 yards, and we hope 8 or 9 touchdowns. That's happening. Dobbins had 30-plus receptions last year. If he just does the same thing this year, and then you get another 25 from Harvey, then you go back to the receiving room, and you got to get gadgety Mims. You got to get Franklin, who goes over the top a couple times a game, pops the top. Okay, and then you got to fit Vele in. Pat Bryant's still in the mix, and then the Sherfield, who does special teams work for you, is your wide receiver 5. So Vele, like we said, could have projected to be wide receiver 2, but where does that leave you in the hierarchy of touches and importance?
Well, where did you have him then?
I had him at 2.
Where'd you have him rated?
But, I had him at 2, Cello, but now after Franklin's camp and preseason and Pat Bryant's fondness and living up to, like, you know, the love that Sean Payton is getting him, Vele probably is my like wide receiver 3 or 4 now. In front of
Well, good thing he's gone.
Well, no, but not in a bad way. Okay, here's what I think too.
So who's your number? Hold on, before you go there.
Yeah.
Who's your number 2 then right now?
Now it's Troy Franklin. Because Troy Franklin's going to have more. Marvin Mims might have a lot of big explosive plays, but like a lot of the plays he's going to have are big explosive plays. Franklin looks like he's going to be, 3rd and 8, catching those, 3rd and longs.
Projected numbers.
For Troy?
Yeah.
60-plus catches.
So you got him 60-plus. You got Sutton what?
80.
You got Ingram what?
High 60s.
Not 70?
I would like
not
to,
80,
but...
Not 90.
Hey. No,
I mean, the dude caught 100 balls a couple years ago.
114, not just 100.
So, like, listen, we're talking about all this, and I think maybe that's another reason why you make a deal like this is because of what Vele was good at last year was possession type of receiver. He didn't drop the football.
Yeah.
If he was targeted, most of the times he's catching the football. And when you add a piece like Evan Ingram, who can be your joker,
Yeah.
you're gonna listen. Bo Nix has a lot of weapons now, and to game plan to get all these guys involved in your offense. Sean Payton said it last week. He said, "I got to find a way to get him touches. I got to find a way to get him touches,
Yeah.
and not to mention this year you should be a lot better running the football. So that takes away other opportunities there because." Some of the opportunities Bo Nix and the receivers were provided last year was because you were so subpar in the running game.
Cello, respond to this. If Sean Payton and the Broncos, George Payton, had decided that Vele is more Lance Moore, Robert Meacham, and Devery Henderson than he is Colston, Michael Thomas, or Percy Harvin, then Pat Bryant, who's already been compared to Michael Thomas, and you have a Cortland Sutton, Vele just becomes another guy, which, again, Sean, to me, It's about having enough in the wide receiver room. And they did have enough. Vele, the odd man out. We don't know everything. I'm not saying he was a jerk. I'm not saying he wasn't in the playbook. I don't even want to, pretend to know that kind of stuff. But there's always a little bit more to the story of why you move on a guy.
I don't think that it was so much odd man out as it was more so that Pat Bryant, I think they believe, can do what Vele did well. They think the size is there. You've seen kind of flashes of it early in
the maturity
camp.
too.
Yes, and he's not going to be a guy. He's not a burner.
Yeah,
but he's more of that possession type receiver. And I think early throughout this camp, I think they saw enough that said, "Listen, and he's how much younger?
Vele's 27.
Exactly. So
Weird.
that's a factor that I think was incorporated in the
older
decision.
kind of dude.
Well, you said 29's old.
Well, 27's old for a second-year player for sure, and everyone's road.
You said Pat Mahomes 29 is old.
No, you said it, Henry.
No, you said that.
No,
Danny.
I did. Every position is different.
No,
29 is old for a Dre Greenlaw, a linebacker. 29 years old. When I said 29 is old for
Pat Mahomes,
Mahomes, I'm hoping that he's 29 years old in a 32 or 33-year-old's body.
So
that's just a hope and a prayer. That's not real. That's not based off of stats anything. Let me check my numbers here again.
My point is 27's still young in reality, but
yeah.
And I don't know Pat Bryant's age off the top of my head. I think he's probably 21, 22 maybe.
He's probably 23, right?
Somewhere around there. That went into account in the decision. Is if he's this close already, and which is crazy because as good as Pat Bryant has been just through training camp, I don't know that he outshined what Devaughn Vele did last year in his training camp. So they're kind of playing a little bit of a gambling game here. He's similar. We see
okay, let's take it to the next level then. Okay, what has to happen in order? What kind of production and productivity does Vele have to have in order for the Broncos to have regretted this and to make everyone think, oh man, Vele, we just let that guy go. Now he's catching 80 balls for 8 touchdowns and 1,000 yards for the Saints.
So it'd have to be like Michael Thomas 2.0 in New Orleans.
So he'd have to really be really good, because if he just goes and catches 60 balls,
I don't know that he can
we
do
can't
that.
hang our head
who's
about
the Saints
that.
Quarterback, Danny.
Spencer Rattler,
Tyler Shuck,
I don't know.
Shuff.
I don't know,
Shuck.
man. Who is?
It's one of those two guys.
Derek Carr when he decides to come out of retirement. I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean,
Stidham.
That's a tough pill
Will
for
Peterson
him.
trades him to.
That's a tough pill for him
Yeah.
to swallow. Going from which nationally, and we talked about this the other day, everyone on board with the Broncos not being a surprise team anymore, going to what the NFC South's never really all that good.
Yeah.
And you might be going to the worst team in that division now.
Yeah. Okay. Last thoughts here. Just kind of playing off of the trade as a whole. And we talked about it, but the moves, not just here today or yesterday.
Can I ask you something real quick,
of
though?
course. Ask me anything.
Did they pull the wool over the Saints' eyes? Are you shocked by the return that they got for it? I know you've been trying to explain to me how.
Yeah.
But when you initially heard it, what was your response?
Well, only if they lied to the Saints. Like we're honest about this guy, there's a but he doesn't want to learn the playbook. Yeah, he's a jerk to everybody. Yeah, he's kind of, he's a bit of a magoo, if you know what I mean. He's not that smart. I mean, he's kind of lazy. I don't know any of those things to be true. And I would say the opposite is true.
He wouldn't have played for Sean. He wouldn't have played for Sean if any of those things were true.
But what I'm saying is that's the only way you ask me for it to be a lie.
No, because I'm asking, the Niners gave up a 7th for a second-round pick.
Yeah, but Lance Moore was a failed player. I'm sorry, Lance Moore. I said that's the old saying. Sky Moore, 22 catches, 21 catches, and then sat out all of last year, and probably is a jerk. You know what I mean? Vele was a 7th-round pick who came out of nowhere, worked his ass off, was a camp darling, was mature in a room full of a bunch of young receivers, and was the perfect guy for the job. So, no, I don't think they burned the Saints. I actually think they're going to be playing from behind a lot this season. So they need receivers to go out there when they're down 17 points to go catch a bunch of balls in second halves. And Vele has a chance to, go for 60 catches and maybe some touchdowns and be one of the 2 or 3 best guys there. Why wouldn't he be one of the 2 or 3 best guys
I don't know.
if he was one of the 2 or 3 best guys here?
you put together the whole pie.
Okay.
You put the different pieces, and he missed time during training camp this year.
Yeah.
The year that he had last year, surprising people. He also was very good in training camp last year. You break down the numbers with him in comparison to Marvin Mims and how close they were, and Vele playing less games to do so. I was surprised by it. I mean, I was literally like, wow.
Yeah, but now that we've had
just
time
tells
to
me
chew
that
on it, can you understand it a little bit more?
No, I understand the idea behind it, but I'm still surprised at what they were able to get in return
Yeah.
for
Okay.
it. So,
Well-
and I mean, and I feel bad for Vele going there, but I don't even know, like, does this have, like, you got to pass a physical for this to go through? Has that already been done?
Oh, I'm sure it's a done deal if the team announced it. That's
Yeah.
usually like, hey, there's a reporter announces it, and then the teams have to kind of make it official. So I'd say it's a
Did
done
they
deal.
know this earlier than maybe even training camp starting?
I think when you're communicating with the team you're going to play in the preseason, there's lots of communication between the two teams. That opens
No,
up some
I mean,
doors.
my point was him sitting out practices earlier in camp.
No.
Okay.
I think there was really something going on there. I don't think the two are kind of connected. The way they're connected is that maybe he falls out of favor. He falls out of favor a little bit because being available is you can't
The
make
best
the club
ability
is availability. You can't make the club
in
from
the
the tub. Okay, so I just think Pat Bryant shined. Troy Franklin's really looked like a big boy receiver now, taking a big step forward. And I just think maybe you didn't like the phrase "odd man out" a little bit. It kind of feels like that a little bit. We only have a couple minutes left. I want to ask you one thing. One of my biggest fears of this season,
Spiders.
Snakes.
There you go.
One of my biggest fears of the season was the Broncos' depth. I said they had 22 really good starters on both sides, but then the depth is what's going to hold them back from, what the Ravens have built, what the Bills have built, what any, perennial championship contending team has built. This move here for the value here, they're kind of deep at corner. They'll have extra running backs. No one will want to trade for any of those running backs, but the Broncos are perhaps deeper than I thought, and I'm giving them credit for. Maybe they're and the depth is what closes the gap on.
This move only speaks to the depth. Like, they didn't get anything out of it. We're not going to know what they get until next year.
I don't mean adding depth. I mean having so much, more pieces.
I know, but
they
don't think that was answered early in the preseason game 1 and 2 when you're playing majority of your backups or reserves and they're dominating the way that they have so far?
No, that's another piece of this whole thing. I wasn't expecting this in the preseason, especially the 49ers are super talented. And who'd they just go do?
Huh?
Who'd they just go beat up here?
The Chargers? Was it the Chargers?
No, just a second preseason game.
Who? The Broncos, the Cardinals.
The Cardinals, sorry.
I thought you were talking about the Niners.
No,
the
the Cardinals, who,
Gotcha.
some people think could surprise some teams this year. But, that's like a really great look for the Broncos is being able to make moves like this. Get a fourth and a seventh doesn't equate to a third-round pick, but it gets you early into the fourth round. That's a top 100 pick. Okay,
well, we can always package it up.
To me, Cello, as the older I get, and maybe just the NFL becomes just so entrenched and so important to all of us. A third-round pick seems to have so much value.
You sound like
these
you're
days.
getting more on board
With
the prospects of the Broncos
I
doing
am.
something super special this year.
Well, super is quite strong.
Chavi, I don't ever know if you probably don't know this, but at one point, Danny, years gone by, he stood up in a press room and said, "Hey, Coach Fox, Danny Williams, is something special happening here?"
And Coach Fox goes, "Okay, so there's the story behind it. They're 1-4, all right, and they bench Orton for Tim Tebow."
Yeah.
It's Tebow time. He starts winning games, and after the third game, I'm reporting for the Associated Press.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's only the world's largest and oldest news organization. No big deal. But I'm up front. I need a pop and quote here for a piece. And I said, "Coach, you could feel it. What's happening with Tim Tebow? Like, you could feel it." And I said, "Hey, Coach, Danny Williams, AP, Coach, is something special happening here?" And he goes, "Well, I don't know about special," but then goes on for about 2 minutes of just like him not even be able to like fathom how these things were happening for the Broncos to win these games improbably, right?
Yeah, you had that press thing in the side of
I
your
did.
hat.
I said, here,
You had
see?
a pen.
Yep. And I said, okay, coach, keep going.
So you're on board now. You're not scared.
I'm trying to not be scared anymore. I got a dog, and when I get scared and you hear something in the
Go to
night, he jumps
church.
up and goes, "Arr." And then I've been going to church too. The
That's
first
good.
church of nothing but the truth. So help me God, Cello. All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. It's been a good one. We appreciate you guys. If you did the full 25 minutes with us, you're awesome. We love you for it. If you just hit us on a short, on one of these shorts on
Yes.
social media or YouTube, like us. A lot of people have been commenting on that stuff. I love it. I wish I can get there and like comment back. Like, what do you mean I suck? No, there's only one guy who said that. But we appreciate the interaction and participation. For Chavi, okay, who does it all for us. For Marcello Romano, I am Danny Williams. We appreciate you guys, and we love you guys. Good night, Sheila.
Yeah, whatever, Alan. Go inside.